Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. You are dear to me. These words would be so pleasant and beautiful for anyone to listen to. And this is what Ramchandra ji tells Hanuman ji when he comes back with the mountain and revives Lakshman. Raghupati kinhi bahut badaye, tuma mama priya Bharat samavaye. You are as dear to me as my brother Bharat. The character of Bharat in the Ramayana is a very beautiful and interesting one. There are two great epics within the Hindu culture, and the first is the Ramayana and the second is the Mahabharata. Both are stories of brothers and kingdoms. In the Mahabharata, we have Prince Pandu and Dhritarashtra, brothers. Dhritarashtra was born blind and could not be given the kingdom. And so Pandu ruled for many years. When he died unexpectedly, Dhritarashtra ruled in his name, and so the kingdom was to go to Pandu's sons, the Pandavas. But Dhritarashtra always wanted the kingdom. He was always very jealous of his brother Pandu for having taken the throne. And so his inner bitterness and resentment was passed on to his kids, who then fought for the kingdom and fought with such unrighteousness. It led to not a civil war, but a war between two brothers or a family, and hundreds and thousands of soldiers were killed, and it would have been the lowest point of the kingdom at that time to have such a horrendous incident, so painful for each person in the family, because people you loved and grew up with were killed by people you loved and grew up with. And then we see in the story of the Ramayana, Ramchandra ji was promised the kingdom. Kaikeyi grew jealous and managed to send Ram to the forest for 14 years and secure this kingdom for her own son Bharat. Bharat and Ram were brothers, and when Bharat heard of this, he didn't want the kingdom. He wanted Ram to come back and take the throne. The only difference in these two epics is Bharat. The reason the Ramayana doesn't end in disaster and heartache is because Bharat's heart is so pure. He didn't want name, fame. He didn't want power. He didn't want to have which he thought was not his. He knew Ram was a brilliant leader, a righteous king. He knew that no person would do a better job than Ram. And interestingly, he did as good a job as Ram. But he still thought, no, the kingdom was entrusted to him. He's the rightful heir. I don't want it. This quality of purity is praised so extensively by all the poets who write on the Ramayana, to talk about his courage, his strength, his persistence, because when he comes back to the kingdom, he's being accused by everyone. And the pain of first having lost his brother, and then the pain of being falsely accused like this. His mother had done it without his awareness at all, and yet you see that his purity is so great that at the end of the Ramayana, Bharat is only ever glorified, never ever suspected or doubted to have any kind of inclination to take anything away from Ramchandra ji. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna describes the qualities of a devotee that make a person dear to him. And there's about 6 verses, and the first one is Advaishta sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukha shami. And if you see these qualities that's narrated in the Bhagavad Gita, Bharat has every single one of them. All the 6 verses is too much to go through, but just the first one. Advaishta sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha, to have a spirit of not hating anyone and a sense of friendship towards everyone. And we see this as Bharat goes through the forest to find Ramchandra. Whoever he meets, he looks at them as a friend if they were Ramchandraji's friends. Even the vegetation and the animals, he looks at them as friends because they have seen he is Ramchandraji. That sense of togetherness and oneness and brotherhood, he imbibes so completely. Nirmamo nirahankaraha, the sense of no ego. And I think this is the quality that really makes Bharat shine. It was never about him. It was always about Ram and Ram's beauty. I had seen a beautiful poster of Swami Chinmayananda of the Divine Life Society, and he is bowing down Shashtang Namaskar to the Murti of Ramchandra. And he himself has signed on this picture, and he has written, "Where you are, I am not. Where I am, you are not." The you referring to Sri Ram. Where you are, I am not. And in the picture, he is lying flat on the ground doing prostrations. When the ego is completely disappeared in surrender of the Lord alone exists. I no longer exist. Where I am, when the ego asserts itself and feels so important and is filled with desire and action, you are not. I can no longer see the Lord within me. Bharat's love is constantly this sense of surrender to the Lord. He is not there, only his love for the Lord is there. And so his purity and his beauty is just so evident to everyone. And he makes the Ramayana as glorious as Ramchandra himself. And he does it because in that total surrender, the Lord alone shines, reminding us all too that when we surrender, when our ego is deflated, then his glory shines through us. Then he is seen in our words and deeds. He is seen in the love and compassion in our eyes. But the minute the ego asserts itself, we push him into the background. And so, may we remember, whenever we see the Lord in front of us, where you are, I am not. Where I am, you are not. Think about it.